Welcome everyone to my channel. My name is Ada, your online therapist. And how you all doing this beautiful week? Tuesday. Beautiful little Tuesday today. So I want to talk about today's topic, cultural identity. Basically, how our social environment influences our personal development, self-esteem, self-actualization. And you know the saying that culture is a way of life of people, of any people. So the question then becomes, where are you from? Okay? If I said my name is Adobe, some people might guess, okay, you're African, are you Nigerian, are you Igbo, from where? Typically, we go all the way down to the roots because we want to know who you are, where you're from, who are your people, who are my people, who are your people, and so on. So cultural identity is the building blocks of society, of nation states, of nationality, especially where there's in today's world where globalization has made it such that cultures and people and ethnicities and ways of life interact and come in contact and change, which is what we call cultural adaptation. Yes, there are people who are, really, there are people who do not like the mixture of cultures and sometimes would cry foul and say cultural appropriation. But the fact is, as long as we mix with people, we are going to get a feel of their culture and sometimes decide to pick up their values or things that they do. A lot of people will always say, look at the Jews, how they make money. Look at the Chinese, how industrious they are. Look at the Japanese, how smart they are. Look at the Americans, how individualistic we are over here. Look at the Yoruba, look at the Igbo, look at the Hausa person, look at the Ibibio. So it's like you identify a person based off of their culture, because culture creates an identity. Culture creates like a cloud, it's like a bubble. And once you step out of that bubble, sometimes you have to defend yourself. Sometimes you could be in danger. Not intentionally, but it's just that there's cultural identity kind of identifies different ways of group classification. Basically, people love to identify. We love to classify. Okay? Even in mundane things, but reference to the relevant things in life, even in mundane things as football teams, people are very passionate. Soccer teams, football teams, baseball teams, Dodgers, Angels, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester, Chelsea. People identify with the characteristics, the attitude, the philosophies of their group. And cultural identity can also kind of separate you and make you a target for racial discrimination or ethnic targeting or cleansing or homophobic slurs or xenophobic slurs. I beg your pardon. Xenophobic slurs. Basically, there are stages when it comes to cultural identity. The first is developmental, that we talk about in psychology. One is the developmental psychology, how it creates as a source of cultural identity. You see, for young people, if they are born into a culture that does not encourage hard work, that can be very detrimental to their development into adulthood. So cultural identity basically is how you position yourself socially in the society, given the philosophy of the group that you're part of. Our ideologies, the things we believe in, our expectations of life, However, when you travel, this is why travel expands your mind, because you see, culture is a more recent thing when compared to evolution. our evolutionary decisions are based off of survival, continuation. Um, you know, basically to be sure that we are here for as long as we can. But you see, culture kind of restricts it. Culture wants us to form groups and clasps and class and all that. I mean, look at the Osu people of Igbo land. They're Igbos. They're not Yorubas. They're Igbos. But heavens forbid your ancestors did something and the rest of the clan decided that you no longer belong to the clan. You are ostracized and all that. You're born into that family, whether or not you're a great person, a good doctor, a good nurse. Your entire ancestry is a stain on your culture. So you will carry that stain into your own life wherever you are. But you see, like I said, cultural identity, as much as it's important for us to form our own sense of social self, it's also something that needs to be treated with not kid gloves, but to be understood properly. You see, oftentimes people feel that culture is the in and all there is to be about a person. But this is why some people will never marry outside of their ethnicity or even race. And some people are already giving birth to mixed children. You see, the survival of the human race it hopes the human race, for us to survive, it is hope that we will mingle, we will mix, we will go beyond our borders. Because if you look at migration as a whole, the need for migration came about because it's like a necessity is the mother of invention. If you live in a savanna region, in dry season, you need to move and look for food, just like the animals. So the ancestors of migrants, or your parents, if you're from Nigeria and you're over here, it's for a better life, it's for improved standard of living, it's for better resources, it's to open opportunities up to your children or your descendants, basically. So when it comes to cultural identity, it's not a question of should you go, should you not go, because when you come into a new place, you have to also adapt to the culture, to their way of life. Otherwise, you will find it very difficult to adapt, to flourish, to mingle, to be accepted by the host community. And it's so important for migrants to be accepted by their host community. Otherwise, the hostility and, they call it middlemen minority. It's like that, the fact that we're already culturally diverse and separate and unique makes it really, it's kind of, are you open-minded enough to trust somebody from a different culture? Because first of all, we have to trust the fact that we're humans, all right? It's a question of, okay, what are you open to? Because at the end of the day, you as an individual, whether you're born Nigerian or Russian or British, the culture you were born in, it's not solely, that's not your only existence. You're a human being. Therefore, Maya Angelou quoted a writer who says, I am human, therefore nothing human is alien to me. So as much as you say it is not our way of life, if it's done by a human being, then it is within you to actually exhibit those tendencies. It's a question of whether you've been trained or taught, or if you've seen it, if you've been able to emulate, copy, whatever it is. Basically, a child born in China will grow up to speak Chinese. A child born in Russia grows up with the Russian language and French and Nigerian and Igbo and so on. So you've taken this whole identity because of your geographical location. But if you were to be transplanted, by, when you have war and political instability and people migrate, those children born by immigrants have an entirely new set of cultural universe to deal with, because not only have they left their place of birth or origin of their parents, they now have a new place of origin, where they were born, the culture and ways of the host community that they are born into. And it's a mix. Basically, what I'm trying to say is cultural identity is important, but it is important. Let's look at the larger view of humanity. Being Nigerian versus being American, you're still human, okay? And what is really what they call global citizen? This is not a talk about global citizenry, but when you have a wider view, when you have a bigger perspective on the human race, you realize that selecting culture, attitudes, decision making, and social status and class and all that is to actually, at the end of the day, even the cultures of our parents that we're choosing is because we believe we can advance ourselves with this culture. Let me summarize what I'm trying to say. See, there are parts of your culture that are worth emulating, and there are parts of your culture that are worth dropping. But a lot of people get mixed up in, it's my culture, I'm born in it, I will die in it. You see, improvements in cultures get to improve when they interact with other culture, okay? Take the English language. English language is spoken by so many people from so many cultures, and each person has adapted the English language to suit them. And you see, the English language then borrows. In essence, what I'm trying to say is we are humans and we interact with one another. Someone born in the north, someone born in the south and the west and the east, they have, not only do they have different geographies, they have different advantages and opportunities. If you're set in your culture and you feel like you don't want to mingle, that your culture is better, you lose the opportunity to improve your culture via interacting with your fellow humans from a different geography. They say when you speak more than one language, you understand things better. Because the thing about learning more than one language is it improves your patience level, I should think. You understand things better, you express yourself better. Because it's almost like what somebody calls anger in one language, somebody calls frustration in another language, somebody calls it difficulty in another language. So it's almost like some languages step up meaning, some languages die down. But the thorough idea I'm trying to pass across is cultural identity is how we identify within groups, within sects, within the larger human race, because we all can't be, we're all part of a big human race. I don't interact with everybody. Chinese people are humans just like I am human, but I don't interact with all Chinese. But me being from Igbo or Nigerian doesn't mean I'm strictly only going to interact with people from my race and dialect and ethnicity and so on. And the idea is when you see the tenacity or endurance or whatever someone else's culture does, you'll be like, wow, I have a friend who does this. They inspire me when they do this. They inspire me when they walk like this. I feel encouraged just watching them. They help me grow my discipline. That's what culture is supposed to do for us. Not so much to de-alienate us, but to more or less bring us together. It's like to appreciate the differences or how we interpret situations on philosophies. When you look at popular mythologies, the Greek, the Roman, the Mayans, and Egyptian mythology and all that stuff, you get a sense of appreciation. Sometimes like, oh, Egypt is Africa, so Africans are queens, and we got this and so on and so on. You may not have a direct linkage, but it's a culture, it's a group thing, because that's how we identify. It cannot be changed, but it's important to learn that while we need the group thing to develop, we should also understand that adulting means developing beyond, expanding, thinking. Einstein says, it's not about going to college. It does not consist of only passing, getting a degree, but it's in improving your ability to think. All right, guys, I really feel like I need to expand more on this. So probably there'll be a part 2 of cultural identity. Stay tuned and look out for instances where you learn something new from someone from a different culture, a race, ethnicity, background. Oftentimes, the politics, what they call the identity politics, plays a major negative factor in making people only see themselves as us versus you, and not, oh, your culture improve this part of your culture is going to improve the human race as a whole. That part of your culture is going to take us back 200 years. We need to, get rid of it. All right. So, without judgment, without, destructive criticism, I hope that you understand that cultural identity is a big part of us. It cannot be removed from our development. However, it needs to be learned and understood as a tool, just like money is not an end of its own, it's a means to an end. All right, you need money to improve your lifestyle, to get nice things, to you improve your status so that you have people respect. So at the end of the day, it's a transactional medium. It's not edible. You can't eat money, but you can buy nice food, nice clothes, look good, feel good, have a floss your personality and so on. So culture is supposed to be a means to an end, to improve your lifestyle, to open you up to more opportunities, explore and discover more things about the human race. All right, guys, so thank you so much for listening. I will see you in my next video. Until then, ta-ta!